Hi everyone, welcome to another video. I took a week off, which I thought I would use that week to like get caught up, maybe even make a backlog, but I don't know. I have some days where I just am like, I just want to spend the rest of my life doing nothing but playing video games all day, and I just want to like quit everything and disappear and not speak with anyone ever again. Like I have those days sometimes, and this was very much that kind of week. And I know that's very unrealistic, but sometimes I just feel that way. But I'm gonna sit down and film for the first time in 2 weeks. I've not really been doing anything terribly productive with my time off either. I've mostly just been doing the bare minimum to keep my life from falling apart, and then playing a lot of Genshin Impact. Yeah, I told myself that I would take like June and July, drop down to once a week, and by August I'd be ready to go and do like twice a week again, and yeah, that didn't happen. I'm still just not feeling it, and I wonder if it's just like that ADHD thing where the moment you lose like 1% momentum, you just come to a grinding halt, and it takes like a monumental effort to get that momentum going again. Like that's definitely a thing, but also like it could just be that like I've just been a really big sad, and so I don't want to do anything. I mean, there's multiple confounding variables here at play, so who knows. But I'm back, and I'm just going to start making a makeup look with whatever is sitting on my desk, because my desk looks like a tornado ran through, and I need to organize so bad. So I'm just gonna film with whatever my hands grab onto. This is just gonna be a look. I was thinking that maybe I would do something mildly Genshin coated. I'm not sure, but we'll see. So I'm just gonna start with some setting spray because I just washed my face. I haven't exfoliated in like a week, so I really need to exfoliate more often. So if my foundation is looking kind of weird, it's because I apparently don't know how to take care of my skin. But I'm going to use this GUERLAIN primer. I don't think it's worth it. I bought it on a whim. It makes me feel fancy. Definitely smells like a GUERLAIN product, I'll give them that. I have it in the silver tone. It's not the gold one. I got the silver tone because I thought the silver would look better on my undertones, but for all intents and purposes, I feel like they all just kind of look the same. It goes on, it comes out a little bit thicker, but as I rub it in, it gets more watery and thin, but then as it sets down, it becomes tacky. So it's not a bad primer, but I don't really think there's a world where a primer that costs over $60 could ever be worth it. Like, just being real. Like, even the MCGRATH primer that I love to use if I need my makeup to last does not cost that much. So I just, like, I like it, but I just don't ever think there is a universe where charging as much as GUERLAIN does for a primer is worth it. Foundation, I'm a little bit more lax on. I will pay for a foundation that makes my skin look like the second coming of Jesus, but primer, not so much. I'm gonna just put on some an attempt at under eye primer. This is just the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Eye Base. I think I might go with a more moisturizing foundation today because my skin is a little bit dry, so I haven't used this in a while. I've been really liking the Wake Make foundation, but I think I'll just go ahead and use this today. My GIVENCHY foundation. And before I do that, let's not forget I need to use color corrector. I have been experimenting with a yellow color corrector. This is from e.l.f. It is the Camo color corrector, and it is just a pale yellow. I have been experimenting with, it smells like paint. I've been experimenting with different colors of color corrector. I was browsing the olive skin like subreddit where people with olive undertones chat, and I have seen many people echo my frustrations where it feels like my dark circles are not a color that a color corrector exists to fix, because they are a very weird kind of brown green color. So I saw some people mention having success with yellow, but other than that, it seems like the jury's out on what kind of color corrector really works for us. I think the best one for me so far has been the Rare Beauty one, but I was kind of trying yellow, and I feel like it at least kind of takes away any of that weird purple list, because it's like what, a weird yellow, green, purple, brown, like I said, it's just not something that's very easy to correct. But I feel like, I don't know, I still don't really notice a difference, but I thought I would. I've been like kind of messing around, so I thought I'd try that today. This foundation is in the shade N80. It is too light for me, but when I swatched N95, N95 was too dark, so I just make this one work. It's really, it's not awful. The undertone is a good match, so I can get away with it. It was so weird. I thought when I got this and I got the wrong shade, I was like, oh, if I go back and get N95, then N95 will match me. I was so sure of that. And then when I did finally get around to swatching it in store, it was like so warm and so dark. Like I was like, why is there such a big jump? This has been a long-standing favorite of mine for a very long time now. If you go back and look at all the videos I've used this in, it will be like, you know, it's a lot of videos I've used this in. I feel like I remember having more coverage, but maybe I've been spoiling myself with higher coverage products lately, so I just forgot that this one is not actually that high coverage, but still looks nice. Yeah, and it looks good on my skin. The only downside to this peach blender is it does soak up a lot of product, but I just love how soft it is. I have issues with like pressure and texture on my skin, so if it's like too hard of a sponge, I can't stand the feeling, but this is like... Okay, I do really wish I had a little bit more coverage, so I'm gonna use my Luna concealer. This is old packaging. This is a version that no longer exists anymore. It has been renewed multiple times at this point. This concealer probably is technically beyond expired, but it looks the same, performs the same, smells the same, so this is what happens when you have preservatives in your products. So I'm just going to apply. As you saw, I applied a very tiny amount just right inside the center of my face where I think I need more coverage. Yeah, because I have like some discoloration, especially like right here, that I always want to cover. So I am still waiting for my Yesta order that I placed that has the Romand Black collection. I am still waiting on. It did say it would be one of those 21-day things, so I assume that it will be on its way to me eventually. Not really in any hurry, especially because I am just getting further and further behind as time goes on with how little I'm filming. But it is on its way to me. I think I may just make a giant Romand roundup video or two because I never ended up making a video on the Spring Fever collection and I feel really bad about that. But so I may see if I can just make a bigger roundup video. I think I'll call that good enough. My under eyes are a little bit dry today. Okay, and then a little bit more setting spray. I am going to go ahead and apply some under eye powder just to lock in the concealer. So I'm going to use my MCGRATH powder, which I love how the text has rubbed off. I just don't even know what's going on with MCGRATH anymore these days. I was going to get that quad with the really cute, it was like almost like a lilac-y sort of color, the blue and the lilac for spring, but I heard that the quality is not there. I may not end up getting it. I was going to, but I think I might change my mind. I need to watch Patty Alonso's video using it. I haven't gotten around to that yet. The thumbnail made it seem like she was kind of let down. Doesn't she maybe feel even just a little bit of frustration that her brand reputation has tanked so much? I don't know business though, so I have no idea. But you just can't help but wonder sometimes. I also do like to use the powder kind of on other parts of my face, even though it's such a small powder. I mean, I have so many powders I rotate through that I don't mind using it like across my entire face. I'm sure if I did that every day, I'd go through it pretty quickly, but clearly I don't do that, so this is fine. For eye primer, I'm going to use the Fenty Beauty eye primer right here. And then I did powder my eyebrows, which I like to do so that the eyebrow pencil goes on better. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on that. So I'm using my ESPOIR Brow Balance. And I'll use a brow pen for the inner parts, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. They are not symmetrical, and I like my left eyebrow today a lot better. I feel like I need to trim my right one. I think my right one, the strands are getting long. If I trim it, it should shape a lot better. This is the Brow Flick. Nothing new. Okay, so for my eyes, I was thinking about going and using something from NARIMI because I have, at this point, bought a lot of their stuff, but I just haven't yet actually featured any of it, and I feel terrible for doing that because I love NARIMI's stuff, and I also, like, you know, I spent my own money on this stuff, like, I should use it. And I've been doing a lot of grungier looks lately because I've just been absolutely obsessed with finding, like, blackened lip products, so I'm gonna try and maybe stay away from that today. I haven't gotten around to using this yet. This is a limited edition palette from NARIMI. This is not available anymore, unfortunately, so I'm very sorry. And it is, you can like pay the markup on Look Healthy store, but the international shipping is free. And I've heard it's a lot easier for customs as opposed to buying from Taobao using a forwarding service. I usually buy them from Taobao, especially because my mom was in China this past summer, so I had her get a couple things from there, and I don't have to pay shipping because my mom brings it back. But there's a couple different ways that you can get your hands on it. I was thinking about using this today just because I've been, I don't know, just like it gave me dendro vibes, so I kind of wanted to do maybe like a dendro kind of look today. Like 2% Genshin coated, but not really. I think that might be fun. I don't know, just something to get me in the mood. I really had to force myself to sit down and film today because like I said, like especially if you have ADHD, you'll understand that like you lose momentum once and it just like everything grinds to a sliding halt. Like you are incapable of forming habits. The habits never stick, so you always have to put in the same amount of effort to do something regularly. So like on one hand, it makes it very easy for me to do something like quit a game because I don't log in once and I just will stop logging in. But on the other hand, for situations like this or exercises or any kind of long-term healthy habit I try to implement, it never implements. But I digress. I'm gonna go ahead and start on this. If any of you guys want to be friends with me on Genshin, then let me know and I'll send you guys my like whatever friend code thing. I don't know how it works. Haven't really spent any money on the game aside from the Welkin, so I don't really have anything particularly interesting to offer, but I do main Alhaitham and I like am mild. He kind of lives rent-free in my head most of the time, so I'm gonna start off with this shade right here. This shade. The greens in this palette are a little bit unconventional. Like you got like the grungy greens, you got like the more sickly like yellow greens, and then you got like this more bluey green. Like there's no actual like true green in here, so I think this should be really fun. I want to do something with like I definitely want to play around with the shimmers more so than the mattes. I don't know how many of you guys will be interested in hearing me go on a long ramble about Genshin while I do my eyeshadow, but I did get a couple of comments where people were picking up my very slight references and digs at the game, so clearly some of you guys know what I'm talking about. But I did start playing Genshin mostly just to cope because I just needed an escape, and I ended up loving the game so much that I am still playing it, and this is probably going to be my video game fixation for the next who knows how long. This is not my first gacha game. I am a gacha like geriatric, you guys. My very first gacha game was Puzzle and Dragons, and if any of you guys know what that is, then you get a cookie. Let me know. I started playing Puzzle and Dragons in this is gonna age me, isn't it? I started playing Puzzle and Dragons in 2015. And then after that, I played Brave Frontier. I don't play either anymore, but the thing is with me is that I have very long gacha cycles. It will take me a very long time before I finally feel like I'm ready to drop a game that I pick up. I played Puzzle and Dragons for probably almost 6 years. And the only reason I dropped it mostly was because Dragalia Lost came out, and I personally do have kind of a cap on the number of gacha games I can play at once. Usually it's like 2 to 3. Beyond that, it's just too much. And I played Dragalia Lost until end of service. I currently play Pokemon Masters, so I'm no stranger to gacha games. I know exactly how the gacha works. I know how predatory it can be. Thankfully, I am the kind of person who is not like bothered. Like it does, the gacha mechanics pushing you to spend money just doesn't work on me. Especially now that everything has pity, so I'm safe in that regard. But I've just enjoyed the game so much. Like the gameplay is so good. I love exploring. I love being able to just look for things and find things, and the writing got really, especially like initially I was kind of iffy on the story, but then when I hit Sumeru, I was like, okay, wait, hold on, I love this game. I love the graphics, the style, the character design, like I just love everything about it, and I've had so much fun, and it's just been such a great kind of escape for me, so I've just continued to play it, and 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 probably a little bit too much, but life is hard enough as it is. I might as well as find something that I enjoy if it helps with the grief, which it absolutely has. It's just given me something that I can think about. It's given me kind of another world that my mind can exist in. And it just kind of helps stop me from like spending too much time spiraling mentally, ruminating. And so I've just really enjoyed the game for that. And the reason that Sumeru is my favorite region, not just because of the fact that I'm an Alhaitham main, the interlude quest in Sumeru and Nahida's whole arc in general, very heavily with themes centered around loss and grief and how you can or cannot move on from that, and what you do in the aftermath of loss and grief. A lot of Nahida's storyline centers around that a lot. I'm not going to spoil anything because I don't want anyone to like get their plot lines ruined, but it's just like playing through Sumeru at the time that I was both a good and a bad idea, because on one hand I was like, I spent a lot of time during the interlude and during the Hida's story quests just like crying because it was so hard for me to get through. But on the other hand, I really appreciated that there was that level of care taken by the writing team to just be honestly really realistic about how much grief kind of sucks and how shitty life can be. You know, there's nothing that can be said that could make you feel better. I mean, it just sucks. And that was like, it was honestly refreshing to see a creative media be just so realistic about it. Like, cause like, you know, I feel like toxic positivity, especially around grief, can be a really big problem. Like, there's just so much social pressure to move on, feel better already, and it can feel really like confusing when you're not feeling better, even though you feel like you should be. And there's so much media out there that shows people just magically feeling better. And so it was nice for once to see like a media where it was like, no, it sucks and it's not gonna get better, or it will, but it might not. Like, it was just nice to like see how realistic that was. So that's why Sumeru is kind of my favorite region. I'm gonna go ahead and take that same shade on the lower lash line. In my experience, Narimi's mattes are a little bit on the drier, more powdery side, so if I lay down too many layers, my eyelids will eventually be mattified and it will be hard to get more pigment to stick down. But I also find that because there is so much kick up and they are so soft, that using a stickier primer like the Fenty Beauty Eye Primer is a good way to kind of counterbalance that, which is why I chose to use it today. So I would say just like, unless you want the more subtle blended look, maybe don't set your eyelids. Yeah, I really like how that looks so far. I kind of want to see if I can like blow out the green just a little bit more. I don't know. I did really like Fontaine too, but Sumeru, just emotionally speaking, there was so many themes surrounding loss, grief, change, and also surprisingly like a lot of like found family themes as well, that it really definitely has a special place in my heart. I also, not gonna lie, I appreciated for once being able to play through a region where the cast of characters you're interacting with wasn't just like all women. For those who don't know, it is definitely a very common thing for gacha games to be pretty much all female playable characters, which, I mean, I'm sure you can guess why. So it was nice for Sumeru to have like most of the characters you're interacting with on a regular basis, like Tonari, Sino, Alhaitham, and stuff like that, they're all male. And so it was nice, like it was a lot more balanced. And also like the whole arc, everybody was just like so competent and like things just went well and everybody was just like, it felt really nice. Like I felt like I could really imagine these characters as real people and I would like really like to interact with them. Which I know some people like think Alhaitham is kind of a massive jerk, but like I played it on the Chinese dub and he's not like nowhere near as sarcastic as he is in the Chinese dub. He just sounds like a chill guy in Chinese. Like I actually don't really like his English voice direction, but in the Chinese dub, he just sounds like a chill guy. Like he's just chill and he doesn't like express his emotions as explicitly as like other people do, like Kaveh. Like he's not as like visibly lively, but he still feels things. Like he's just like comes across as like a chill dude. Like, so I found his English dub to be a little bit like, I didn't like it. So I can see why people don't like Alhaitham if they've only heard the English dub, but I think the Chinese dub characterizes him way better. But that's just my like personal opinion, my hot take of the century. I really do want to play around with these shimmers now, so I'm going to start off with this shimmer here, which looks like a duochrome. So I'll be interested to see how this goes. And I have found that Narimi's shimmer formula works just fine with finger or brush, and I don't usually need to use a glitter glue for them. Some of them are a little bit more loosely pressed than others, and I do have a palette where one of the shades arrived borderline broken, so I really have to treat it really gingerly and I can't travel with it or anything, or else it's just gonna shatter everywhere. Most of the time when I have ordered these in the past, they have arrived safely without being broken. It's only one of them that arrived broken, and that one actually I bought secondhand, and I think I remember the seller mentioning that shade had already been kind of fragile to begin with, so I bought it knowing that it might break in transit. So when it did, I really wasn't that surprised. And then I want to try using this shade right here on my eyelid area. Oh my god, that's like, could I have picked a worse way to say that? I'm wondering if this might clash a little bit, but we'll see. I'm gonna kind of use this a little bit like it's like almost like a translucent topper. I'm not gonna put on like a full completely opaque layer of this. I feel like these colors I'm picking are so dendro coated, and I'm doing it on purpose. So I'm happy with this so far. The other reason that I really like Sumeru is because I also find that there's a lot of the characters there have facets of them that I really strongly identify with. And so watching them like struggle and grow, or watching them handle something better than I would have, kind of almost feels like something that I can like reflect on myself about. Like I really like, you know, Alhaitham like really doesn't like people, and he kind of prefers to keep to himself. And so because of that, people have opinions that they project onto him that may or may not be true, but like he just doesn't care. And I wish I didn't care. Like I wish I could kind of be like that. Like I kind of aspire to like have that level of just like self-confidence that he has. And then on the other hand, there's Kaveh, who's like an absolute disaster. Like some people joke that he is like super ADHD coded, and then Alhaitham is super autism coded. And for me, it's like, it's so funny because like I kind of identify with both of them. Like I kind of like flip between the two of them. So I find there's aspects of them both I really, really like and appreciate and find really interesting. And of course there's the fact that like Kaveh is an artist, so like, you know, the whole artists suffer for the art. I was like, yeah, I can feel that. I feel that in my bones. And then there's Wanderer, who like is just dealing with a ton of baggage from grief and loss that he tried to undo but couldn't. And so like I feel that too. But then like in the most recent summer event, you can really see how his character development and his character growth has gone, and that was just like super inspiring as well, seeing how he's able to kind of move on and still make something of his life. I started at the end of 4.6, so I didn't have enough currency to summon for Wanderer's rerun, and I also knew that it would be better for my account to summon for Alhaitham in 4.7 instead. So I'm still mad as hell that I don't have Wanderer, because who knows when he's gonna come back, since he literally just ran. Like, I don't regret pulling for Alhaitham instead, but I wish I had Wanderer. He's such a goblin. He's my goblin, and I love him. I'm gonna take this shade on the lower lash line as well. I also recently just finally finished the Dirge of Bilqis and its related quest lines, and oh my god, that like took my heart and just shredded it to pieces. Like, I didn't realize, I was like, it can't get worse, can it? It got worse. If you haven't played through that yet, you really should. It was so well written. Just, I think it even was better than some of the Archon quests. One of my favorite quest lines of all time, the Dirge of Bilqis for sure, but it was so just like freaking sad. So yeah, just another reason to like Sumeru. Although I don't like exploring Sumeru, it's too big and it's too vertical, and I get really disoriented really easily, so I am absolutely terrible at exploring Sumeru. I do much prefer exploring Fontaine. I'm now gonna go into this purple shade right here, which I know kind of seems kind of strange, but I'm excited. Kind of almost like we're adding a hint of the roses. There's a lot of purple flowers you can pick in Sumeru. It kind of has it. I wasn't expecting it to have this much of a cast though. Maybe I should have used a finger instead. I'm gonna try using a finger on my other eye. It kind of looks a little bit ashy, not gonna lie, but I liked where I was going with it. Like, I still feel like I was able to kind of get the effect I wanted. But it does kind of clash a little bit. Like the green and the purple are kind of, it's looking a little bit gray, but that's okay. Okay, so next what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go and pull a different shadow. Oh, I know, I have it. I'm going to use this shade from Odin's Eye. This is the Lavender Dream shade, so, you know, just me continuing to be bitter that I never got the other shades before they sold out, got discontinued, never brought back, etc, blah blah blah, screw you Odin's Eye. But here is Lavender Dream. I'm going to go ahead and use this for finishing touches. So I'm going to stick this down here. Which reminds me, I do really want to pick up the Cleonut Fruit Lighters someday. I keep telling myself, you know, like, if I can fill more consistently, you know, obviously then I can buy a little bit more, but I've just not. And I am going to go ahead and use this shade also to kind of brighten up the purple a little bit. It'll kind of tamp down some of that ashiness. This is just one of those like shades you can really use for anything. I just love it so much, and I'm just so sad that I'm never gonna be able to have the other shades. Yeah, I actually really like that. Okay, and then I do want to add some like, real nice depth, like maybe like an eye, like a blurred out like shadow eyeliner kind of situation on the outer part of my like, you know, like for my outer corner. So for that I'm going to use a completely different palette, I think is what I'll do. I'm going to go into Intrafatum right here. I've just been having this Beautopsy palette sitting out on my desk lately because I do want to try and remember to use it a little bit more often than I do. I should be using a lot of things. I have a lot of makeup and I don't use a lot of it, and so that's kind of one of the many reasons that I decided to slow down. And the HINDASH palette is a lot more hard pressed, so I feel like it's a little bit more easier. That was just not grammatically correct at all. I feel like it is easier to work with these shades for things like shadow wings because they're not gonna like go everywhere and get really dark really fast. You can kind of build it up and blend it, and you don't get like fallout or anything. Yeah, I think that's good, and they're pretty symmetrical, right? Okay, so that is the eye look complete. I'm gonna just do mascara today because I really don't feel like doing false lashes. And I think the look itself is like kind of light enough that I think I can get away with it. So I'm gonna try that, especially because I really do want to keep indulging the new Korean mascaras that I just got because I do really like that I have them now. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, my mascara is on. My lashes aren't quite as volumized as I wanted them to be, but they have been a little bit on the sparse side lately, but at least you can see them. I use my Parure ink black Cara as a base, and I mean, you know, at least they're visible. Definitely would look better with false lashes, but I just was not feeling like it today. That being said, usually I do discover that once my mascara is on, I realize, oh, I could probably benefit from some slightly darker eyeliner. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that now. I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown Long Wear Cream Liner Stick in the shade Rich Chocolate. I'm going to use this to just darken things up a little bit. I do want to do a look inspired by like some of the makeup that some of the Genshin characters have, like Nouvelette's gorgeous eyeliner, or it's kind of subtle, but Alhaitham and Kaveh both have like some very slight red accents, and then of course there's like Zhongli and Wanderer that have like more explicit like red eyeliner or red eyeshadow. Like I kind of want to do some makeup inspired by those eye looks, but I'll have to like probably plan it a little bit more than I am now. But I just kind of wanted to do something that was like very vaguely Sumeru / dendro coated. I just was feeling that because otherwise there was no way I was going to convince myself to sit down and film, and I like really absolutely had to. So here is the eye look completed. I do, like I said, I wish I had more lashes. I really do. I do not. I have like all of 2 lashes per eye, but that's okay. Oh yeah, onto the rest of the face now. So I think this will work. I'm gonna use this Etude House blush. It's in Sleepy Tiger. This is no longer available. It's so cute though. I want the Amuse and Hello Kitty collection so bad, by the way. Like I know it exists and I want it so bad, and I need to really debate because Amuse is kind of pricey, but I want it so bad. I am well aware that that collection exists, and I do really, really want it. So I'm just using a very fluffy brush, and I'm just going to kind of put on, this is a pretty light blush, but it does show up on me. But this is a very easy blush for me to control. It's very hard for me to over apply this particular color, so I'm just going to kind of broadly apply it all over my cheeks. I also didn't powder the rest of my face because using Korean blushes, I generally don't need to use setting powder. Especially if my skin is very dry. Usually an Asian blush will powder my face down for me. This is such a unique shade. I don't really quite have a shade like this in my collection. It's just a really subtle blush color. I really like how it looks on me. And then I think I'm gonna take like a more beige toned blush to use as my contouring blush. I don't really know if I want to use bronzer or contour today. I'm going to use this Too Faced Love Flush watercolor blush. Again, I don't know if you can still get this. I don't even think it ever released in the US, but I have it in the shade California Love, and this is one of my favorite beige blushes. I don't know, there are some days where I just don't feel like using bronzer or contour. I just want to use blush to contour my face. I feel like that should be the next makeup trend, is just using blush to contour. It's not super complicated. Admittedly, this video is a little bit low energy today, but I do really like how it turned out. So I am now going to take a highlighter. I'm going to use the Flower Nose highlighter in Revelation. Very sorry that I keep using this. You cannot get this anymore, but it is probably one of my favorite highlighters, so I have it, so I'm going to keep using it, but I do sometimes feel kind of bad. And whenever I use this, I just think about how I didn't get Cupid, and I just completely missed out on that shade, and like, I feel like Cupid would have been the perfect pink highlighter that I have been searching for my entire life. That shade would have been perfect, and I'm so bummed I don't have it. Something about this formula, it's just so smooth and pretty, and it doesn't emphasize texture, and it's like you can build it up to make it really shiny, but you can also tone it down and it just looks so just soft and smooth and everything. I can't think of a single bad thing to say about this highlighter other than the fact that you can't get it anymore. Okay, so as you can see, everything turned out pretty soft, and I personally do really like it. So that does mean that I can make my lip a little bit more pigmented, so I think I will go ahead and try that. So I'm just going to throw on a lip liner. I think I might have overlined a little too much, but it's fine. I think I might try this in the shade Weekend. It's the new 3CE Dewy tint. I can't remember what it's called, like Dew Drop or something. I don't think I've used this yet because the sticker is still on it. It has a silicone applicator. It's kind of on the same trend as the Romand Lasting Color glosses because it kind of like feels and operates the same. Although the Romand ones just have a standard dofa applicator. I'm not like the biggest fan of silicone applicators. I feel like it makes the product a little bit more difficult to control. But I also can see why they're nice because like especially if you're using this on top of something else, silicone applicators are much easier to clean so that the color doesn't like get contaminated or anything. Yeah, this is definitely a product that you don't want to apply too much of because I think I accidentally made it a little bit gloopy. Hold on. So it's not quite as pigmented as I expected, but I think this works. Like and my lips were very on the redder side today because I just exfoliated my lips. So it kind of just took that and then just added a little bit more pigmentation to it. I think it looks good. This is an interesting product. I could be down for more shades. I like how it kind of has, it doesn't really sink into my lines too much. It does kind of form a smoother film. I can kind of hit it a little bit though. Like I can see it just a little bit, but it's not too bad. Now my lips look a little bit juicier and more hydrated, which is always nice. I did, as you can see, get my bangs trimmed, and I did get my hair kind of done to like a darker purple, but it's like because of the fact that I could get it to be more of a vivid saturated purple if I like got the color removed, re-bleached my hair, and then re-dyed it. Like I could do that, but I didn't really want to, so it's more of that kind of like very deep, almost black reddish purple that you can't really see unless I'm in the sun, which I actually don't mind because I kind of missed having darker hair anyways. So now my hair is just kind of reads as like a darker like black tone. Like you can see here how like my hair just kind of looks dark, but if it was in the sun you'd see the purple. And I just, I kind of missed having dark hair, so I was glad to go back to something darker. And plus I think it will last longer before it fades because it's kind of expensive for me to get my hair done, so I really try to minimize how often I get the color retouched up. I think when I go to China next year I will get my hair color like redone more dramatically. Like I want to get my hair straightened, and then I want to get my hair maybe like a little bit more bleached and then colored a much more intensive color, so I'll bleach it like a lot lighter than this time because I didn't bleach it very dark the last time, just dark enough that a red would show up, so it's not bleached to the point where like say a pink or an orange would show up. So I kind of maybe next year want to bleach some more of my hair a little bit more intensively when I'm in China so that I can get a color that's a little bit more intense. It's just way cheaper to get it done there. Plus my family has a particular favorite hairstylist in GUERLAIN that they all use, and he is amazing, so I really don't trust anyone else but him to bleach my hair. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna do that. I'll be a little bit more dramatic, and again I'll probably just focus on bleaching the ends so that way if I end up not liking it I can always just cut it off. Because I'm constantly trying to grow my hair out, so I could, if I end up really hating it, I can always cut off the ends and my hair would still be an acceptable length. Okay, so this is going to be my finished look. I know my hair is frizzy. I am really working hard on trying to fix it and make it smoother and sleeker, but my hair is like super stubborn, you guys. But here's how everything looks. I haven't had my hair done in a while, so I thought I would do that today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video with a very odd kind of, it's not really like, it's a little bit of an odd combination of colors, but I don't know, I just kind of wanted to use colors that I liked and just whatever stood out to me, because otherwise I was never gonna sit down to film. So have an extremely vaguely Genshin coated look. Like it is like you have to really squint to see it kind of a thing, like, so like it just could just be like a green and purple look, but like if you guys know like the Sumaru rose, I think it is, plus like just the general color scheme of a lot of dendro, then like you'll get it. So yeah, that's it. Plus, I guess you could almost call this like an aggravate themed look if you really wanted to, almost. I definitely do want to do more like artistic Genshin inspired looks, like not necessarily mimicking one for one the character's eyes, but like just like for example, like if I did something with Alhaitham, it would be like I'd like draw on like maybe like the little mirrors that he uses in combat, like I just like draw them at the ends, like stuff like that is kind of what I was thinking of doing. But anyways, I am going to sign off now. I don't really have too much to say. Everything that I used I liked. I didn't really use anything terribly new. I used some stuff sitting in my backlog, but most of the stuff is not new, and this is not a very complicated look, so apologies if the video was kind of boring. But if you didn't mind listening to me ramble about Genshin, thanks for joining. If you have any thoughts you want to share about Genshin, definitely feel free to let me know in the comments below. I would love to talk to somebody about Genshin because it's just been like my hyperfixation for the past few months, so always down to talk about it. And if you play, let me know who you main because I totally am curious. And let me know who you're like looking forward to or who you like wish you could pull or whatever. Just let me know, I'm curious, right? So yeah, I'll sign off now, and hopefully I will be back next week for another video. Hopefully I don't miss next week, but we'll see, hopefully. Alright, until then, take care. Goodbye.